Welcome back, everyone. We are going to do a beautiful stretch today, mobility. We're also going to use our lacrosse ball. But first, we're going to start into tabletop. So bringing yourself to all fours. Good. You're going to stack those shoulders on top of wrists and those hips on top of your knees, curling those toes under. You're going to tuck that chin or keep it neutral. Deep breath in, curl that tailbone under. Tuck the chin, rounding. Good. Breathing out, drop the belly. Lift the chin. Good. Deep breath in, tuck the tailbone under. And as we move through this, I want you to slow it down, right? The intention here is to kind of open up through all the vertebrae. It's getting a nice stretch through the core, through midsection, through the back. Good. Open up. Give me one more here. Deep breath in. Rounding. Breathing out. Open it up. Good. Pressing into those hands. Push yourself to downward facing dog. And pedal out those legs one side and the other. One side and the other. One side and the other. Amazing. And I want you to just land here, drop those heels. Good. Press those hands above your head. Good. And I want you to step your right foot to the outside of the right hand. So you're getting into this nice deep lunge position. Good. And then you're going to drop that back leg. And you want to make sure if you have to assist that foot to come forward. And you're going to rock side to side, almost letting this knee fall out, getting a nice stretch in that hip. Amazing. Now you're going to pull that back knee off of the ground and you're going to rock back and forth on that back toe. So you'll get a stretch through here through your calf, right through the leg a little more. Good. And now you're going to bring your hands together and then open up the chest facing the front leg. So nice opening in that chest, nice twist, gentle twist in the spine. Find your breath here. Good. Float that hand down, stepping that right foot back to meet the left to downward facing. Drive those heels down. You can, if you'd like, pedal out those legs one side and the other. Good. Floating the left leg up this time. You're going to put that left foot to the outside of the left hand, driving that hip down, getting the back knee to fall. And again, pushing that knee away from you. Good, and you can kind of rock side to side. You'll get an opening in this front hip, the one that's back. I guess it's the back hip. The front of that back hip. Good, pushing this leg out. Good, hands come together. Press up into that back toe, rocking back and forth on that back foot. Amazing, hands come together. You're gonna open up that chest, giving yourself a nice rotation here. Good, floating that hand back down to meet the right, stepping back into downward facing. And again, pedal out those legs one side and the other. This should be a nice release, the back of the legs, even in the back. Good, and then bringing yourself to child's pose. So knees nice and wide, toes touching, reach those hands in front of you. Let that forehead come to the ground, sink into it. Amazing. I want you to roll yourself forward and onto your belly. We're going to stretch the quads here first. Good? So you're going to put your head onto the mat and you're going to bend your right leg. I want you to reach back with that right hand. And I want you to keep your body ground down. Good? So you're going to try to keep that right hip down. So if this is not accessible, you can always grab a sweatshirt, something, a band to hold on. But I want you to try to bring that heel to your backside while keeping that knee and that hip and that butt tucked down. Right, so you'll get a really big stretch in the front of that right quad. Good, release that side, bend that leg. So you're kind of going to roll onto your left side so you can bend that right leg. And some of us sleep in this position, so it might feel pretty easy, but I want you to now glide that leg down so that you're trying to bring that hip back down, getting an opening in that leg. Good. Now I want you to flex that right foot and you're going to lift that foot and bring it down. Right? So from the knee, you're lifting and bringing it down. What we're doing here, we're trying to get a nice rotation in that hip and just releasing some of the tension in that hip. So you should get a nice inner thigh stretch, trying to keep that hip down, right? Hip bone down, and then open it up. Amazing. Extend it to meet the other leg. Good. So I'm just going to flip over so you can see. Good. So now the same thing, bending that left leg, reaching for the toes, the top of the foot. Squeeze that heel into your backside. Breathing into the tension, and just notice, is one side tighter than the other? For me, this side is much tighter. It makes me feel like I need to lift my hip, so ground down through that hip. Squeeze that heel into your backside. Breathing here. Good, releasing that foot, bringing that knee out to your side. Good, so land here first, trying to put the hip right down to the ground. Good, and then from here you're gonna lift, flex that foot, and lift that leg up just at 90 degrees, getting a nice rotation through that hip. Good. 2 more here. Last one. Amazing, straighten that leg. Good, bring your hands to your ribs. You're gonna push yourself into an upward facing dog or cobra. Good, whatever it is. Just get a stretch in the front body. You can lift that chin, pull those shoulders away from you. Good, and then bringing yourself to a seated position, cross-legged, and then you're gonna grab your lacrosse ball. So either a lacrosse ball, a baseball, a tennis ball, whatever is easiest for you. Good, and you're gonna bring that ball underneath the ball of the foot. Good, heel stays down as the fulcrum. You're gonna use your hand on top of that foot, and you're gonna roll that ball underneath the ball of the foot. Good, so stay up in this prop position, and you're just gonna push into that foot, right? So nice and slowly here, it should feel like a nice massage underneath that foot. And then when you do a couple passes, you're gonna roll the ball closer towards the heel. Good, and again, using this hand to kind of moderate the pressure, rolling it from the outside to the inside, finding your breath. Good, bring the ball closer to the heel, roll it. Amazing, bringing the ball underneath the heel. Good, and then you can prop yourself up here if you want more pressure. You want to keep the ball of the foot down so that ball doesn't roll away from you, and you can control it with that hand on the ankle and kind of roll it side to side. Should kind of feel crunchy. It should kind of feel good. Amazing, let's switch sides. Good, so same thing, ball of foot. You're in the ball, lacrosse ball, tennis ball, whatever it is that you have. Good, you're gonna press into that foot. Let that nice stretch come in underneath the toes. Amazing, roll the ball closer to your heel. Every time I do this class, because I'm so close to my feet, I'm reminded of how badly I need a pedicure. Good, bring the ball closer to that heel. Last one. Nice and controlled passes. Amazing. Now you're going to prop yourself up onto yourself if you'd like. Ball and foot down. Heel has the ball underneath it. Rocking side to side. Amazing. That feels so good. Good, bringing the ball to the other side. So staying in your seated position, you're gonna bend one leg, extend the other. Right, so we're just gonna work through the calf. So I'd like you to go from the lower half Good, and you're just gonna go side to side. So you can hold on to that leg so the ball doesn't go flying away from you. Good, and then you're going to go back and forth. Somebody asked last week about the fascia. So your fascia line runs usually along the lines of your muscles, right? So this is a really beautiful way to release those muscles, kind of like that self-massage. Good, and I like to hold on to my leg just to control it, especially if there are any adhesions in the muscle that kind of make it go blue. So I feel like it doesn't let the ball roll away from me. Good. Woo. And then turn those toes upwards, or I guess the inside of the foot up to the ceiling, so you can roll back and forth. Amazing, and bring the ball to now the mid to upper calf. Good. So I always lean this hip back, and then I go side to side. And then I press the hip forward so that it moves. You can see the ball moving up towards my knee. Good, and now turn those toes inward and rock it side to side. Amazing. Toes come up, forward and back. Good, open up the inside of the foot to the ceiling, get into the outside of that calf. Right, you can always put a little more pressure if you need in order to get into the little places where it's tight. Amazing. Switch sides. So same thing on the other side, lower calf. Good, and side to side first. Amazing, and then you turn those toes inwards, do the inside. And you want to go as slow as you'd like here, but it doesn't have to be completely super duper slow. Right, nice and controlled. Good, turn those toes up. Amazing, bring it up to mid to upper calf. Rock side to side. Rock side to side. Good, and then back and forth. And again, using that hand if you need a little more control on that leg. Amazing. Good, we're gonna switch sides here. So, option to grab a yoga block or a book if you want to lift it a little higher, but you're just going to get that ball right underneath your quad. And I'm going to show you, so I was testing this out the other day. Here is one of the ways you can do it. You can grab a yoga block or a book, for example. Let me show you with a book so you can really get the idea. So here we have The Universe Has Your Back, and Dr. Sabari Shafali's Awakened Family. Good, so you get the book. You place it literally underneath your hamstring with the ball on it, right? So now it kind of props up the ball so it can get into that hamstring, right? Because you have to be pretty flexible. Nice, Paulina. Pretty flexible to be able to get into that spot. Remember, we were kind of jamming down on our leg. So this way you'll feel that it's kind of elevated and can get into that hamstring. And you're just going to rock it side to side. Rach, were you able to grab something, a little something? She's like, it's okay. So try to, you might need to lean into it a little bit, right, to get into that hamstring. So literally you're going to get it to like basically go back and forth, okay? And so I like to start just underneath the glute and being mindful, right? You have really big nerve innervations underneath there, so you don't want to get into that space. Good, and again, turning those toes in and out so that you can get to the outside of the leg, to right behind, and towards the inner thigh, and then you're going to bring the ball a little farther down, right? So this will get closer to the knee. And so if you were with us this week, we did a lot of legs yesterday, and a lot of legs on Monday, hamstring, glutes, and so you may be tight and sore. And so this is a really good way to get into those hamstrings gently, right? Like kind of that self-massage. And then noticing if there's any points of tension that you're like, ooh, you can sit up a little taller, breathe, and lean into that tension, that point of tension. And it's kind of like, you know, when your massage therapist gets in there and then all of a sudden gets their elbow in there and leans in on that muscle, and then it releases it. It's kind of like that. Amazing, and then switch sides. Grab your book or your yoga blocks. Oh my goodness. Good. Same thing. Kind of get in there underneath that, right underneath the hamstring, close to the glute. Again, rocking forward and back. Amazing. Bringing the ball closer to the knee now. Same thing. Rock back and forth. And so, like, my hamstring on this side is pretty tight, and so the ball's going a little like blip, 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 blip. And so find those little points of tension that are pretty tight. And like I said, lean into it, breathe into it. And just try to get that little muscle to release, letting your body know that it's safe. Even though we put it through a lot sometimes. Good, and then move it around, back and forth. This should feel really nice. And this is good practice. I know it's nice to take the time when you're doing it with me, but you can, now that you've seen the sequence, you could do this in front of the TV, watching Netflix. Good, flipping over to your belly, please. Good, so we're gonna bring the ball right underneath that quad. Good, and you're just gonna let it sit there. So you wanna try to keep that hip close to the ground. If you need, you can actually stack that little book to give you some support. And then you're gonna bend the knee. I always find it so interesting, right? So this I find really tight. So this allows us to kind of stretch that quad a little differently than when we're holding onto our leg. Flex that foot, pull those toes towards your shin. And you can roll the ball across the quad and then find a point, stop there, bend the knee a couple times. Good, and then do it again. Roll it, bend the knee a couple times. Nice and slow, right? Like I know y'all can do it quick. I want you to slow it right down. Amazing. Bring the ball just a little lower, about an inch, 2 inches below where it is, and do the same thing. Nice and controlled. Very good. One more pass. Amazing. Bringing the ball to the other side. I'm going to flip over so you can see where that is on me. So I basically reach my arm down to the point that I can't reach anymore and put it right in the middle of my quad. Good? And then bending, flexing that foot first, and then bending that knee, bringing the heel towards my backside. And just notice, is there a side that's tighter than the other? And how does that feel? Good, roll the ball a little bit. Oh my goodness, this side is definitely tighter than the other. Nice and slow. Amazing, bringing that ball down a little bit. Same thing. Bending and extending. Bending and extending. You got it, bending and extending. Amazing. Good, bringing the ball to the other side. So we are going to go into the hip a little bit. Good, so if your hip bone is here, right, we're gonna go on the outside of that into the juicy part of our hip, right? Not on any bony projections, right, because you don't want to bruise yourself. Good, so we're gonna be on basically our sides. So I'll show you my right side first, right? So basically our side, kind of rolling towards our belly. You can take this top foot and cross it across, because that'll help you taper the pressure. Good, and I want you to kind of roll and find a spot. And kind of, you're going to like, almost like you're opening up that hip, rolling right on it. And again, not on any bony projections. Good, and then scoot yourself up, and then continue there. Good, and then move yourself up. Oh my goodness, and then continue there. Amazing. And then move yourself up one last time. So this should feel like it's going towards your glute as you rotate. A nice release. Oh my goodness. Good, and then switch sides. So same thing, right? Let's start up towards the higher part of that hip bone. Good, getting into that juicy piece of that hip. Opening up that hip, rocking side to side. Good, and then getting across the other side. Finding your breath. Amazing, and then move it down again. So oftentimes, if people have lower back pain, right, sometimes it's your hips that are super duper tight. And doing something like this, even on a foam roller, is a really nice way to release those glutes. Open up those hips a little. Amazing, move that ball to the right side again. So now we're gonna be on our backs. Good, you're gonna bend those knees and you're gonna put it basically in the same spot except behind you now. Not right on any bony projections, but you know those dimples that babies have, right, kind of by their tailbone? You wanna be to the outside of that. So you can probably kind of feel the bony protrusions of the top of, you know, your hip crest there, your sacrum. So just kind of to the outside of that, right? The juicy part of your glute. So you're gonna feet shoulder width apart, bend those knees. You wanna put pressure here because then you can lift and allow your pelvis to kind of teeter-totter on that ball. And then you can moderate the pressure, right? Because some of those spots like this one is pretty sensitive. So you can toggle how much pressure you want on that area. And you kind of wanna go across, right? Across to get a nice release and a nice massage through here. Good, you got it. Find your breath. Good, and then moving, almost like moving yourself up so that the ball is moving down towards the middle part of your glute, right? And go back and forth. And then you can scoot yourself a little more, and again, letting it come down a little, oh my God, lower, right? And just be gentle, right? Because you have your big glute muscle, the piriformis, that comes over that sciatic nerve. So you don't want to put too much pressure there, but you should feel, you know, when we do our figure 4 stretch, that same kind of muscle, that whole big area, getting a nice massage. Good, release the ball from here, and actually while we're here, let's get into that figure 4 while we're lying down. So you're gonna take that right leg on whichever side you were rolling on. You're gonna bend that knee and then reach through and hold on to the back, excuse me, of the other leg. Good, so you're gonna feel it in that same area, right? And as the closer you bring that knee towards you, your hands pulling towards you, the deeper you'll feel the stretch here. Oh my God, this is so tight. Good, and then you can take that elbow that's closest to the knee that's bent, closest to you, and press that leg out. So what this is doing is satisfying a nice external rotation here, getting more into that glute. Oh my goodness, it's so tight. Find your breath here. Good, you can straighten that bottom leg, but keep this other leg out, and I want you to just hold on to it, kind of like when we do the seated rocking the cradle. I want you to take your one hand up to the opposite foot, right? And then you're gonna press that knee out, whatever is accessible to you, and I kind of want you to rock and get a little deeper into that hip, into that glute. Amazing, bring that knee into your chest, so interlace those fingers and place it right above the shin, and squeeze that knee into chest. Good, extend that leg, just stretch it out, shake it out for a second. And then bring that ball back. We're gonna do the other side. Good, so bend those knees. Take your lacrosse ball underneath that little bony projection, those little dimples that little kids have. Good, and you're gonna rock that hip side to side. Side to side. You got it. Good, and then you're gonna almost scoot the ball down or move yourself up. So it'll move the ball lower towards your feet. And this swivel motion should bring the ball from basically almost the tailbone to the outside portion where we were before when we were on our side, right? So you wanna get that nice massage bend across that glute. Good, and bring it then a little lower and do the same thing. And again, you don't want to be directly on the tailbone at any point. You should feel that nice release. And again, noticing, is one side tighter than the other? My right side was much tighter than this side for some reason. Find your breath here. Amazing, releasing that ball. So let's do the same thing on the other side. So bend that leg across the opposite knee, reaching through the leg so that you can reach behind that other leg. Good, and then pulling that leg towards you and using that elbow that's closest to that knee to encourage it out. Encouraging it out because sometimes it just doesn't want to go, it's so tight. And just breathe into the space, right? There's nowhere to get to. Just gonna let our body relax and release and say you are safe. Amazing. Keeping this bent leg towards you, you're going to straighten that other leg as best you can, grabbing the sole of your foot with the opposite hand, and then bring it towards you, trying to get a little bit of a bigger opening. And you're going to kind of rock it side to side, just to encourage some more opening in that hip. Amazing. Extend that leg to meet the other. Oh, reach those arms above your head just for a moment. Good. When you are ready, I want you to make your way all the way up to a wall, bringing your ball with you. Good. We're going to get into that shoulder blade. Good. So we're going to start with the top in between that shoulder blade and that spine, right? And we're going to work our way all the way down. So bringing that ball, bend those knees first. Right? Butt against the wall. Good. Ball just underneath that shoulder blade. So you can tap, that shoulder. Right? So you can tap it. And then I want you to extend. And this should literally just go along that line between the spine and the shoulder blade. Good. And then you're going to bend and extend. The deeper you bend, the more span you have. So you want to bend as deep as you can and extend. And it should, as you stand up, come all the way down. Good. So now I want you to drop your chin and keep this motion. A nice pattern, keeping your butt against the wall. Looks like you're sliding yourself down and up. Good. Now pull your ear away from that side. Same thing. I want you to get a nice stretch through that neck. Amazing. One more. Good. Now staying with this side, I want you to just move it down a little bit. Good? So we usually do this on our back, but we're going to do this today. So it should be from the point of the bottom a little bit further down. Right? So I want you to just kind of find that erector spine, that big juicy muscle that runs along both sides of your spine. And you're going to do the same kind of thing, rolling it straight up and down. That nice muscle. It should feel really good. Again, never on your spine, any bony protrusions. This should feel like a nice release. Amazing. Let's go to the other side. So bend those knees as much as you can. Find it just below your shoulder. You should be able to tap it there. Oh my goodness, and extend. So this side is super tight. And again, like I've said before, if you find any of those like little knots, land there. Breathe. Release in and lean into it a little more. Good. Keep going. Good. Drop that chin if you haven't already. Good. And then when you're ready, you're going to pull that ear away. Oh my goodness. So this should feel like a really good release. Being gentle with that neck always. Amazing. Let's bring that ball down. And same thing, right? This is a really good opportunity to take a look at how is your squat, your wall squat, right? Because that ball should literally be moving up and down. And again, if you find any spots, I don't know why this side's so tight, lean into it. Clearly I'm not sleeping properly or compensating with my movement somehow. Amazing. Good, have a seat for me. Good, we're just gonna get into the body a little different with a bit of a stretch. We're gonna go from the upper body. So I want you to round, tuck that chin and round down. And then I want you to bring those arms forward, walking those fingertips forward, and just landing to any point that feels like a nice stretch, right? So that chin down, that reach forward, rounding down, and almost pressing the palms of the hand into your mat so that you get an over stretch in the middle. Good. And then bring yourself all the way up, walking those hands behind you, palms down, fingertips out. And then I want you almost like an upward dog, press that chest forward, opening up those elbows, so try to straighten those arms, open up that chest. And so you should feel a really big stretch through the chest, through those arms. Find your breath. Good, and then walk forward, drop the chin. Walk those hands forward. Press into those hands. Find your breath. Good. And then other side, bring those hands behind your back. Press into those hands, open up that chest, drop the chin. Amazing. Good. Keeping one side down, I want you to reach one arm right up. So you're going to stay here for a moment. So almost like you're trying to extend as far up, getting that nice reach. Good. And then now I want you to bend into that side. So bending this elbow that's on the ground as far as you can. And almost using this as leverage, almost pushing yourself away while you're leaning towards. Good, making your way up to center, grabbing that elbow, stretching your tricep. Tuck that chin. Good, releasing. Good, do it the other side. So reach all the way up. First land here, and then bending into that side. Getting a nice opening. Amazing. Bringing yourself up. Good. Bending that elbow, stretching the tricep. Proud chest. Oh my goodness. Let's do that one more time. So shake it out. Good. Reaching. And then bend and reach to that side. Find your breath. Amazing. Sit up, bend that elbow, stretch that tricep again. Good, and then the other side. Reach up, and then reach over. Oh my goodness. Good, bending that elbow, sitting up tall, grabbing onto that elbow, stretching that tricep. Amazing. Slowly release. Good. Soles of the feet together for me. Good. You can hold on to your ankles. Bring your heels closer to you. And then you're going to drive those knees like a butterfly into the mat. And if you can, you're going to lean forward. You're using those elbows to kind of encourage those knees out to the side. And then you'll get that same kind of opening in those hips when we're lying down. And try to breathe into the space and just notice, is one side tighter than the other? Find your breath here. Amazing. Extending one leg, keeping that leg bent, reaching towards. And I want you to loop yourself around so you're opening up that back, dropping the chin as best you can, reaching as far as your body will let you. Finding your breath here. Amazing, and then walk your hands over to the bent knee and just rounding down onto it. Amazing, let's switch sides. Other knee bent, straighten the other leg. Good, and you're gonna reach towards that straight leg, getting a nice stretch in that hamstring. Finding your breath, landing here a little longer than usual. Amazing, and then walk your hands over to the bent knee. Amazing, and then make your way up. I want us to get into our hip flexors just a little bit. So you're gonna start out into a lunge position. Good? Making sure you have something underneath that knee just to protect it. You're gonna pelvic tilt. So you're gonna tuck that pelvis under, fire up that back glute, and feel that stretch in the front of the leg. Good? It is not leaning into it. It is literally from this to this. Good? And then lean just slightly. Then I want you to take the palm of the hand, press it up towards your ceiling. Good, and get that nice opening through that hip. I want you to take a deep breath in, breathing out, looking up to that hand, and if you can, I want you to round it forward, following it as you rotate around, keeping that tension here. 2 more. One more, nice and slow, keeping that opening in that hip flexor. Good, from here, I want you to now reach over, getting a slight side bend, keeping that activation, glute is on. Good, release, other side. Good, so same thing, neutral, glute on, hip flexor, tuck that pelvis under. Good, reaching up, press the heel of your foot. Good, keep it activated, reach, good, and rotate around. Open up. Good, round. Open up. One more. Keep that glute activated. Open up. Good. Landing in center. Sorry, we rushed that one. And then lean away, keeping that active. Glute is on. Good, and release. Good, bring yourself to tabletop, and then we're gonna do downward facing dog, just to give ourselves a little bit of a stretch. Pedal out those legs one side and the other. Good, bringing that right leg forward, pigeon on the right side. Good, scooch back that back hip. If you need, you can take a pillow or a yoga block underneath the right hip to support you, right? So that you can get forward. Good, if not, keep it out. Walk yourself down, whatever you need, so you can get this left hip close to the ground. Nice stretch in that right glute. Find your breath here. Amazing, keep that back toe curled. Pressing into those hands, curl that back toe, press to downward facing. Pedal out those legs one side and the other. Good, reaching that left leg now forward into pigeon on the left side. So whatever leg you didn't do, go for that one. Good, scooching that right leg back or the straight leg behind you, a little farther back so you can get a little deeper in this position. If pigeon is not accessible to you, you can always go back into the figure 4 that we usually do in our stretch or that we did today lying on our back. Similar elements to the pigeon. Amazing, making your way up, pressing into your hands, curl that back toe, pushing through to downward facing. Pedal out those legs one side and the other. Good, bring those knees nice and wide, toes stay together, drop into the hips, staying here, child's pose. Take a moment just to breathe into your body. Amazing, and when you're ready, bringing yourself up to seated, bringing your hands to heart center. Give yourselves thanks for this little moment of moving your body. Great work, everyone. Very, very good.